can start.
So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this press conference. The DG will deliver an opening statement, after which he will take your questions.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before taking your questions, I wish to highlight a few points. I informed the board that preparations for 2020-2021 IAEA Technical Cooperation Program are well underway. I stressed the importance of ensuring that the agency has sufficient funding to meet growing demands from member states for our services. Making nuclear science and technology available to help countries meet their development goals is a core element of our work. The agency's cancer control activities are greatly valued by member states. We continue to review the Program of Action for Cancer Therapy, or PACT. We are working on new administrative arrangements which will, among other things, enhance our cooperation on cancer control with WHO and other key partners. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministerial Conference on Nuclear Science and Technology will start in Vienna on November 28th this year. I encourage you all to attend. During the conference, we will inaugurate the new flexible modular laboratory at Cyberstorf. This is a key milestone in the refurbishment of the IAEA Nuclear Applications Laboratories, which is one of the most important projects we have ever undertaken. Regarding the IAEA LEU Bank in Kazakhstan, the agency has signed LEU acquisition contracts with 2 suppliers. Our aim is to have the LEU delivered to the IAEA storage facility before the end of 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, I informed the board that Iran is implementing its nuclear-related commitments under the JCPOA. It is essential that Iran continues to fully implement these commitments. The agency continues to verify the non-diversion of nuclear material declared by Iran under its safeguard agreement. Evaluation regarding the absence of undeclared nuclear material and activities in Iran continue. As far as nuclear program of North Korea is concerned, I noted some developments that have taken place since my report in August. The agency continues to enhance its readiness to play an essential role in verifying North Korea's nuclear program if a political agreement is reached among countries concerned. I will now be happy to take your questions.
Any questions? Please introduce yourself,
François Murphy from Reuters. Hello, DG. Hi. You don't normally comment on specifics of what the agency sees in North Korea in your statements to the board. It's normally only the annual report to the General Conference. I was wondering why you decided to speak about specifics and what message you're trying to send.
Okay. The practice of reporting on developments related to North Korea is to issue a written report to the General Conference every summer, and normally we do that in August. But if there is any developments, I keep the Board of Governors updated, and it happened a number of times in the past. So the reason why I made some comments in relation to the activities in North Korea is that we observed some activities, and also it is in line with the years-long practice.
In that case, if I, you mentioned in particular two specific things to do with the reservoir for the cooling and also the bringing components into the light water reactor, or what appears to be that. Could you give a sense of what you feel is happening more generally in Yongbyon? Do you feel there is an acceleration of activity, or are they just looking to expand those two specific facilities? Is it an overall? What I mean is, are you giving examples of what is happening in Yongbyon, or are these the two specific things where you've seen changes? Like, how would you summarize what's happening there?
Yes. I'll tell you what we have observed since my latest report in August. We have observed activities near Kurion River related to the cooling infrastructure for the 5 megawatt and the light water reactors. It is likely that the 5 megawatt was shut down during these activities. I mean the activities related near Kurion River. We have observed the activities in relation to light water reactor. I mean, we have observed fabrication of reactor components and possible transfer of these components into the reactor. I mean 3. But as we do not have the inspectors on the ground, we cannot determine the nature or objective of these activities.
If I may just sort of very quickly, that's all what is in your statement. What I'm asking is if you can give a more general sense of what you're seeing overall at Yongbyon, whether it's sort of continuing in a straight line, whether there's some kind of acceleration. If you can say anything just about what is happening overall at Yongbyon, rather than just these two specifics. 'Cause we have this already from your statement.
It's difficult to speculate. For some period, we observe activities. For other period, we do not. Our role is to provide the facts for member states to consider.
Any other questions?
Hello, DG, welcome back, actually, by the way. Regarding the DPRK, I just want to follow up on that one. In your statement, you said that it looks like the 5 megawatt is shut down, but you do not go beyond that there is any possibility of those spent fuels being taken out. And I assume that you have some logical assumption not to draw that conclusion, although that it is shut down. Could you just shed the light on what the reason that you don't go there, but rather think that this is probably the water related? Thank you.
The reason why I did not say anything about the so-called reprocessing facility is that we have not seen any activities. We have seen activities in relation to the shutdown of 5 megawatt, but during the period after the August report, we have not seen the activities in relation to the reprocessing. And to your question, I forgot to mention the activities of North Korea is not continuous. And how these activities are related to one each other is difficult to analyze. But overall trend is that North Korea has undertaken the activities that they said they would undertake. This is the trend.
Jonathan Tyrone with Bloomberg. Welcome back, DG.
Thank you.
The collection of evidence that was presented by Israeli authorities at the beginning of the year continues to be a subject of interest for experts in the US and in Israel who increasingly are vocal about the need for the IAEA to take action and look at the information. Where does that stand? How are you approaching it? And when can people expect information from you?
First, I would like to explain our position on dealing with some information, including the one coming from the third country. I made a statement on the 2nd of October to explain our position, our policy, and it contains 3 elements. You can refer to my statement, but first is that we consider all the information available for us, safeguard relevant information. But we do not take any information in its safe value. We need to analyze, corroborate from various angles. Second, our verification activities are undertaken in accordance with the existing safeguard regime system and established practice. Now we have, in relation to Iran, we have comprehensive safeguard agreement. Additional protocol is now being implemented. We have JCPOA. We have relevant Board of Governors resolutions and United Nations Security Council resolutions. And third point is that we do not discuss our activities or information in general. Exception is that when we find violation or non-compliance or concerns on non-compliance, we will bring the issue to the board. So this is the framework in which we are working. And with respect to your question, when we will act or we will not act, all the answers are in my statement. We need to analyze the information, and it will take time, of course. And in sensitive issues, we particularly need to have the whole picture of the issue. And this is what I stressed when I was addressing the PMD. Not piecemeal, piece by piece, but have a whole picture is very, very important.
Any other questions?
Tsuchiya from Kyoto News. Welcome back. Let me ask you about the DPRK, a small thing about those activities are observed after the August report. But could I understand those activities were even observed after the 19th of September? Thank you.
19th of them. To be honest, I do not know which when we obtain this such information, but it is a continuous process. It is not we get information one day and forget about it. We keep on following, and through this continuous efforts, we obtain information. So it is difficult for me when we get which information.
Follow up to that question. I mean, for us as a journalist, it is quite important to find out whether this activity has continued on after the North-South Summit meeting, because then there's a clear confusion in information coming out from the Pyongyang Declaration and what somewhat of a discrepancy, as it seems. So it is quite important for us to know, is it possible, I mean, maybe not right now, but somebody from the press office would reach us and tell us whether this observation has been made even after the 19th. We don't really need, I don't personally need a specific date on that. I mean, I understand that you don't go into that detail. Thank you.
My answer is, unfortunately, that is not possible. The reason is that we are monitoring, but we are not monitoring 24 hours. And the fact that we do not or observe something does not mean that they are not doing anything. So identifying the specific time is not possible. And more importantly, we do not discuss at least the details of information.
A further question to that. In your statement today, the board, you first noted that there was this declaration on the Pyongyang Declaration. Then you went on to say that these activities have been observed by the IAEA. So if you're not able to say whether the activities that you observed were after the 19th, why did you mention the 19th? It makes it sound like you were trying to make a political rather than a factual safeguard statement.
We cannot say when, because suppose we observed any day, 20th of September, it does not mean they did not do the activities before. Simply, there's crowd, or we don't have that satellite imagery.
So can we assume that IAEA is the opinion that these activities are, as of today, still, I mean, from the beginning, continuously, you assume that this is continuously going on? Because you did not state it, that it has finished, so I would assume. So can we assume that that would be the case? And also, if I may, because you said it's the last question for me, the DPRK in the past, in recent past, had actually named IAEA's report and criticized for being a falsified report and no credibility to that. And do you have any comment to this? Thank you.
We have been always impartial, factual, and professional with respect to any country in our verification activities. We do not adjust our position or observations depending on the political development. So I can tell with certainty that our information, our approach is factual, impartial, and professional. With respect to the first question of whether we can say when or not?
Can we assume that this concern that you have been expressing your concern over years, and then you are making another reporting to the board a new development? So can we assume that even now that these sort of concern and these activities are still taking place? I mean, that it has not ceased.
This is difficult to say. As I answered to another question, DPRK engage in activities from time to time. But it's very difficult to say. We can tell what we have observed, but it is very difficult to say whether this is continuing or this is the direction, and partly because we do not have, or mainly because we do not have inspectors on the ground. But we are enhancing our capabilities because we have enhanced our capability both in observing the activities on the ground, as well as increasing our preparedness to dispatch our inspectors again.
NHK, welcome back, DG. It's a follow-up question, sir. How should we regard this of the time frame of the new developments that you have answered? This might be a very basic question, but what is the time frame of the development that you found? From when to when, if possible, if you could specify?
From August up to quite recently.
When you say August,
August after our report.
Okay, that's okay.
After report means sometime before the report.
I'm Yoshitake from the Japan's Asahi Shimbun. I heard that on Monday, DTG Apparel will meet with the South Korean officials in Seoul. No?
Monday.
I don't know. Is there any plan to specific consultation with ROK government?
We have constant consultation with relevant countries, including South Korea, United States, and others.
I see.
But usually we do not announce the specific consultation dates and schedule.
Sorry, sir, a follow-up question. Can you specify a bit what you mean when you say you have enhanced your observation capabilities in regard to North Korea? How?
I cannot, because it relates to the tools and methods that we are using.